On today's show, we deep dive into the toys Mattel announced at the New York Toy Fair and talk about charging electronics as you walk with your shoe soles.
We also have a great guest helping us step through the gigantic science news that happened this week about gravitational waves.
Lastly, we answer your questions about whether or not Tidal will sink or swim. That was a hilarious pun. Do a back it or hack it, and also tell you what we're into. It's Tomorrow Daily. Greetings, citizens of the internet. Welcome to Tomorrow Daily, the best geek talk show in the known universe. I'm Ashley Skeva.
And I'm Jeff Kanata, and today's Thursday, so we're deep diving into some of the headlines we talked about this week. What do we got first?
Get out your swim caps. Let's talk about Mattel at the Toy Fair, because I thought this was a really big deal. This was a really big deal, actually.
Well, toys are very big deals. But this is like,
they are.
These are new high-tech toys.
21st century tech toys. Firstly, we'll discuss Barbie's dream house. Because Barbie's dream house, I always really thought I had it a little better than Barbie, because I was like, I have a working smartphone. It's not just a piece of plastic. I have like moving legs. I got working knees. All those great things.
I'm imagining this thought happening like about 2 weeks ago when
yeah,
you were playing with your Barbies.
This is when I was 30 years old. This is very recent. So now Mattel showed off a smart dream house. This is the new I think it's like Hello Barbie dream house.
Yeah, Barbie's got a smart home, as any up-and-coming young urban professional would.
Yes, she's connected to the Internet of Things now. The smart home is now connected to Skynet, and the world will never be the same.
Does this mean that smart home has arrived?
I think so.
If kids are playing in a smart home, they expect their appliances to be smart, right?
I think so. I think this is a really interesting kind of fair weather kind of flag towards mass adoption of smart home technology and Internet of Things.
A tiny Barbie Nest?
She have a tiny Alexa.
There you go.
Alexa's her actual. It's an actual person though. It's like and it has an Amazon Echo built into the doll named Alexa.
That'd
Would that
be
be
cool.
amazing? So here's the controversy surrounding. There's actually a controversy. I was doing some research, and apparently, before there was a Hello Barbie that you could do talk to. You could talk to it.
Right.
And this is in the same, I believe, in the same line. It's a Hello Barbie dream house.
Okay.
A lot of parents are really concerned that privacy issues. Your kids are going to be getting commands. You're being listened to.
You're being indoctrinated into a culture of zero privacy? Is that
you're being listened to. They're listening to your kid.
Listens.
The house is listening for commands. So is that a privacy issue? Is that a thing that parents should be concerned about? I don't know, because I don't have kids. We are the worst judges about this.
It's true. I think maybe the fact that the dream house says, do you tell us your parents' social security number?
Yeah, exactly. As soon as the Barbie dream house starts asking for your parents' personal information, or
find mommy's pin.
What's the name of mommy's maiden name? It's like this terrible, ridiculous things. But I think this is a really interesting concept, because yes, that is a thing that I think people should, especially with the Apple news this week of them saying no to the FBI and protecting their users' privacy. That's what they say they're doing. This is the fight of the 21st century to me. Is digital privacy. This is a big deal.
Yeah, and it's made its way all the way into toys. I mean, it's not insignificant.
No.
I'm not particularly alarmed about the toys, but I think you're right that it is representative of a larger discussion.
Yeah.
That is, how much stuff in our house do you want listening to you, and who's listening, and do we have any kind of control over what's being recorded? I have an Alexa, I have an Xbox One. I'm not particularly worried about that stuff, but I can understand
the concern.
The idea behind it.
Yeah, the idea and the concern behind it can make sense. There's some reasonable argument to be made in that whole thing. Okay, so let's briefly touch on the Thing Maker, which used to be, I really love researching this, because this used to actually be a toy in the 60s that I was not, in fact, aware of, because I was not a child in the 60s. I was non-existent. This was it almost was like, you remember the creepy crawly ovens where you could DIY your own creepy crawlies? That was in the 90s.
I didn't have any ovens when I was a child.
Pour some goop in there, and then you would put them in a little like kind of easy bake oven thing, and then when you pulled them out, you got these like sort of gel bugs.
Poison.
Like they were little
it's
bugs.
Poison.
They were little bugs. They looked like gummy worms, but they were actual, like, there was, you don't want to eat them. Those have been really bad. But so Thing Maker now is a 3D printer for kids.
I think this is representative of the idea that 3D printers are going to be so inexpensive that we're all going to have them. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
It is really cool.
This is what, going to be $300? Is that
$300.
Yeah. So $300 and you'll be able to 3D print things. I think you're going to be able to 3D print food. This is not food, though, right?
This is not food. No,
Yeah.
this is just plastic toys. And they actually worked with Autodesk, which is a very complicated software to create a simplified version for kids.
That's awesome.
So they'll have an app on iOS and Android where they'll drag and drop and say, okay, well, this is what I want my toy to look like, and then boom, ThingMaker prints it out.
I mean, there's an argument to be made that they are literally creating things that will put themselves out of business. You know, if you can just create your own toys, why do you need Mattel to create them?
Well, at some point, I think you would, in the future, think about the possibilities. In the future, you go onto your Mattel app.
Yeah.
You find a Barbie that you really like. You customize it exactly the way you want. Skin tone, eyes, hair, whatever. And you press a button and your 2050 ThingMaker in 30, 40 years from now
Much sooner
prints
than that.
out a full Barbie that is custom to what you want, or a toy that is exactly what you want, and you pay Mattel for that design.
I am 100% in agreement that this is where the future is headed. I'm convinced that in the future the economy will be an economy of ideas.
Yes.
That all you're paying for is the design. There will be people that can design chairs, there can be people that can design toys, there'll be people that can design clothes, and I will be able to have all the manufacturing done in my own home because I just push it with, but by the push of a button.
Multiple filaments and different types of, metal and plastics, and you have a thing that it puts the hair in for it, like whatever.
But you buy the idea of the thing,
right? You buy
which
the
is
design and the idea, the blueprint of the idea, and then you print it out right there in your house.
I'm convinced that's the way the economy is going to be sooner than we think.
Sooner than you think. I think it'll take a long time for people to jump on that bandwagon, but I do think there will be people, sort of like the ones who are like, oh, my car runs on ethanol or corn oil or trash or whatever. It's like that. There'll be people like that in a few
Well, we
years.
just have to get to the point where 3D printers get to the point where they're indistinguishable for something you'd buy in the store.
We're
not there
yet.
yet.
We're not quite
but
there yet.
It's gonna happen.
The quality is not there yet. Okay, so next story let's talk about is I really love this, the shoe sole that can generate, store, harvest and store energy. So
yeah, kinetic energy, right?
It's kind of, so it's it actually uses what's called a bubbler method, and there's a lot of science behind this method, but it's non-mechanical parts. So it's actually taking the energy that the wattage that you're creating as you walk, and harvesting it and then storing it into it has a little tiny generator. Yeah, there you go. Energy generator inside a shoe sole. And then it's got a little battery that puts all the energy into.
Here's how this is cool. First of all, everybody hates charging their phone. And charging their devices of all kinds. Everybody thinks it's a pain. Try to find an outlet. My phone is low battery at the worst time. B, it advocates for getting up and doing and going and walking and being active and not sitting around all day.
True.
So you get benefits from actually moving through your life. So you combine that with sort of a fitness tracker that you said you need 2,000 steps today, but also because you need to charge your phone.
20% battery, it's
That's
2,000
pretty
steps.
great.
Tell me on my Fitbit how many steps I need to charge my battery to 50% or whatever.
I need to charge my phone and make a call. I'm gonna run down the block real quick.
Just take a quick jog.
That's cool.
I really like. They talk about a little bit more. University of Wisconsin-Madison talks a little bit. The team that worked on this are, I believe they are electrical engineers. They're engineers who worked on this, and they said, the applications for military would be really amazing because you could have a soldier charging a lot of different devices that they need while they're out in the field, not having to find a place to actually plug them in.
Drop down and give me 20% battery life.
Yeah, because I need some battery for my phone. And then the other part that I thought was the most interesting, the potential of installing a Wi-Fi hotspot in your shoe. And so what would happen is the energy that you create would power this hotspot, which means your phone would never be disconnecting and reconnecting to Wi-Fi and cell phone towers. They're hypothetically extending the life of your battery, because that's one of the things that kills your battery the most, is constant connection to those towers. I think they said up to 10 times your smartphone's current battery life. You'd be able to just extend it out. Wow. Because you'd have Wi-Fi on you all the time. You'd always be connected to one network. You'd never have to switch between towers. You never have to. It was a very interesting kind of
shoes.
hypothetical kind of scenario that I thought was really weird and cool. We got a lot of feedback on this story, actually. Will wrote in and said, charger shoes plus backpack battery / dock for drone plus HoloLens equals HUD vision with map. I like that's a whole, he's got a whole setup. He's got a whole setup ready to go.
It's a 12-step program that ends in you being completely digitally independent.
Completely digitally independent. Ricky wrote in and said, kinetic charging, please, smiley face. There was actually a kinetic charging device that came out. It was a Kickstarter a while ago called Ampy Move. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is it right here. It's a little device, though, that you actually wear on your body. And then as you run and stuff, it's an external battery pack that charges based on motion. So
well, there have been watches for decades that do this because watches need so little, just regular analog watches need so little power.
Any motion, it's like it stores that and then uses it.
It's a watch that never needs a battery, those like Citizen Echo Drive.
Of course, of course. And then Dustin wrote in and said, forget the fancy Back to the Future 2 shoes with power laces. This is 2016. We need shoes to power our phones.
That's right. And our laces.
And our power laces, because we need power laces. Okay, so that is it for our headlines.
Yeah.
We do have a very interesting Ask TD. We will keep it short, keep it real.
What's up?
But I thought this was a really good question. And actually, I'd like to expand at Hey TD to include any questions you guys might have. We might make it a little segment like this, a mini segment.
Answer your questions on the show. So use that hashtag HeyTD and then ask us something like the following.
This. Ronnie wrote into us and said, do you think Tidal will be a success? Even Kanye can't convince me to convert from Spotify.
It's a tough space right now, the streaming music space. It feels very crowded. And it's only getting more crowded, so it's hard to get people. People are creatures of habit, but I think ultimately, doesn't everything come down to price, features, and ease of use?
I think so, but also I think that there is an intangible that is very difficult for companies like Tidal to grasp. These are all artists that have kind of come together and created this streaming service, and that's all well and good, and I appreciate their kind of efforts there, but if people aren't using your service in the first place, if you're not making it compelling enough to use in the first place, what's the value add? What's the thing you're doing that no one else can get? And right now, it's the exclusivity. So Kanye's like, Life of Pablo, only going to be on Tidal. I'm never, never, never putting it on Apple, blah, blah, blah. So he went crazy this week and just decided to say...
One of the reasons they say that his album is one of the most bootlegged in
over
history.
500,000 pirated The Life of Pablo in less than a week. So that's not necessarily a good thing, guys. Like, exclusivity, not necessarily great. Maybe a week of exclusivity, 2 weeks, you say for the first month, and then it'll come out on other streaming platforms.
Yeah,
but I don't see it
It's a tough sell to try to force people into it by saying the only place you can get it is here.
Yeah.
I think the way that people want to accept those things is you go, well, you can get it anywhere, but here is lower price or
it's value add. What's the thing we're offering that no one else is doing?
Right.
Here's my advice to you, Tidal, if you're watching, which Jay-Z, huge fan of the show. I know you are. Here's my suggestion to you. Apple Music is a mess. I left RDO and I had to go to Apple Music. I am trying out Spotify right now, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying out Apple Music because it's native to the iPhone experience, and it's terrible. It's so counterintuitive. It's so unlike a lot of software Apple, it's so frustrating because Apple sometimes ships this like really half-baked software.
Like iTunes, you mean?
Like iTunes
is
like
a piece
Apple
of garbage.
Maps, like Apple Maps, like Siri. When they launched all these products, that they have not traditionally done a great job of good software at launch. And the thing is Apple Music is so counterintuitive and so unlike Apple's design ethos, which is it just works. It doesn't just work. You have to really look for certain things. It's not easy to use. It's very confusing. You have to go into the iTunes store to buy stuff. You have to leave Apple Music. It's very weird. And so my suggestion is Tidal, if you want to survive, you have to make a product that's better than everybody else. You can't make it just as good.
Right.
Like, it can't be just as good. It has to be heads and shoulders better than everyone else, and you can't just have 2 or 3 artists releasing exclusive albums. You've got to get so many artists on board to say, I'm only going to release it on Tidal because this is the place where my artistry is appreciated and the artist will be paid. That's
So
what
the
I
short
think.
answer to your question is no, we don't think it's going to
Yeah, I don't think it's going to survive. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We want you to watch this amazing video. I guess it took more than a year to design and get done. It's called Star Kart. I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah.
Combo of Star Wars and
So
Mario Kart.
rad.
It's amazing stuff. And then when we come back, we will have Josh Smith, the director of Gravitational Wave Physics and Astronomy Center at Cal State University Fullerton, to talk about gravitational waves and the discovery that science has made last week. So stick around. It's Tomorrow Daily.
Some huge science news this week. Some of Einstein's oldest unproven theories have been proven true, but it's pretty dense stuff, so we got an awesome guest to come help us unpack this news today.
We do. From Cal State University Fullerton, we have the director of Gravitational Wave Physics and Astronomy Center, Joshua Smith. Hello.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Can we call you Josh? Do you prefer Josh?
Please call me Josh.
Awesome. Josh, this is, as Jeff said, very dense stuff, but again, proving some theories Einstein had about ripples in space-time that are over 100 years old.
Yeah, this is the theory of relativity, right? The theory we know of general relativity, and
That's right. So 100 years ago, Einstein told us that gravity works differently than Newton said. So Newton said that you'd have a force between two objects based on their masses, and Einstein said gravity works by curving space and time.
right.
But with a curved space-time, he said that if you had masses that accelerated, kind of moved around like this, they should also make ripples in space and time that would carry the information out. They should travel.
Yeah, we've never seen them before.
That's right.
He said, theoretically, it should happen. We've never seen them before. And the reason we've never seen them before is because they're so small, right?
Absolutely. So in Einstein's original paper, he said if you put in the equation and you calculate what the amplitude is, it's practically vanishing for any numbers that you put in. But at the time, 100 years ago, Einstein didn't think about two black holes going around each other in space.
Okay.
He was, 100 years ago, that wasn't a known system.
So basically, the idea is that there's stuff that has mass in the universe. That mass causes ripples in gravity.
Yep.
And because black holes have so much mass, we're actually able to measure their waves, their gravitational waves.
In it, very tiny, tiny movements.
Yeah.
So actually, the black holes have so much mass, and they're going around each other so fast. So they're going around each other so fast, it's a fraction of the speed of light. The black holes that we saw were 1 billion light years away. Wow. So if you were there, the waves would be really, really strong.
We could surf them.
Yeah, they would.
Just get on a surfboard, which answers one of our viewer questions. They said, can you, in fact, surf on gravitational waves if you were there 1 billion years ago?
I think being 1 billion years ago, being close enough to surf on the gravitational waves from the black holes would be very bad for your health.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You
Well,
could do
duly
it, though,
noted.
but you could do it and then die.
Kind of like actual surfing here with the
Yeah, it's
shark.
just true.
So a gravitational wave is actually space-time changing. So you're actually, things are actually moving closer to you or farther away from you.
Yes.
That's amazing.
The space and time between objects changes as the gravitational wave passes, and that's how we measure it. So we build a giant, it's called interferometer, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, that looks at the difference between distances and mirrors with laser beams. So it makes a very accurate measurement of that distance, and the distance changes as a wave passes by. But the change is so tiny on Earth that it took 100 years to develop the technology to be able to make that measurement.
Detect that.
We're
Okay.
talking like the size of what? Like a
It's like the
a
diameter of a
molecule.
hydrogen atom, right? Is that the,
1,000th of the diameter of a proton, more like it. So it's
oh, wow.
We're talking about 10 to the minus 19 meters, which seems like an impossible number.
It does.
But we've worked on lots of areas of technology to make that possible, and it is possible, and that's the.
How do we measure that small of a distance? 1 billion light years away.
So using the lasers and the mirrors, we make that accurate measurement, and there are a lot of things you have to overcome. One of them is just the mirrors themselves have atoms in them that jiggle around, atoms and molecules.
Yeah.
It turns out if you try to make a measurement with a very small amount of laser light in a very small area, the atoms will jiggle too much. So you have to make a measurement with a big laser spot to average over the statistical jiggling of them so they average to 0 so you can measure the true.
I see.
I have atoms that jiggle too, so
I know,
I can
me too,
relate.
yeah,
I understand.
we all do. So one of the things that I thought was really interesting was one of the videos online, they sort of talked about how they actually attempted to measure for this back in the 60s and 70s and did not have the technology yet, and also built small. Like you were saying, it didn't quite work. So
That's right.
LIGO now is 2 different locations, and the actual length of each, because it's a perpendicular series of tunnels, right?
Exactly.
And so this perpendicular series of tunnels are 5 kilometers long?
4 kilometers, 2.5
kilometers.
miles.
Okay, 2.5 miles long. So we're looking at a 2.5 mile long tube for each of these lasers, 2 lasers per LIGO, per observatory.
And that's for like redundancy, right?
To confirm.
Check, yeah.
Well, so the 2 observatories is for redundancy to check each other because you wouldn't want a local disturbance to be measured at one and then not have a way to tell that it was local.
Right.
So by having 2 widely separated detectors, and by the way, we want to build more. We want to build one in India. There's one coming online in Italy, and there's one in Germany.
Oh, wow.
With multiple detections on widely separated fronts, you can tell that it wasn't a local disturbance.
Right, that it wasn't an anomaly or something that
Right.
is like you can confirm that this actually is a definable measurement
Right.
that happened in 2 different places.
And
Okay, go ahead.
And another thing we can do is we can match what we measure to the predictions using Einstein's equations. So you can use Einstein's equations to solve what you think the system should look like. In this case, 2 black holes that are 30 times the mass of the sun going around each other. And that gives a waveform prediction for what you should expect. And you can match that against what you really see to gain confidence that what you saw came, in fact, from that type of system.
I see, okay.
So what does this mean? This means
Yeah.
that Einstein was right, and this is sort of the last bit of his theory that hadn't been observationally
Proven.
right?
So it is challenging to test different aspects of Einstein's theory. And I'm not sure that you can say that this is the last bit that's been proven, because what we'll do is we'll continue to test the theory with more and more accuracy and look for any small deviations that we see between his theory of gravity and what we actually observe. For scientists, it's exciting if you see deviations, because that means something is wrong, and maybe we can get a deeper understanding by
new.
figuring that out.
Everybody wants Einstein to be wrong.
I know, but you know what?
That
He was
guy's always right.
100 years, he was right. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's very...
It's so unbelievable. It's an amazing thing.
Does this have practical application going forward for scientists?
So one thing that I think is pretty interesting is that this opens up a new way to observe the universe. Everything that we've seen about the universe so far, the majority of it has been through light. And light has different forms. So you can have radio and X-rays and visible light and gamma rays. This is an entirely different spectrum than that. This is measuring gravity from gravity, not from electrons jiggling around, but from masses moving. Wow. So this opens up a totally new way to look at the universe, and we expect to see not only black holes, but things like neutron stars or exploding stars or possibly some remnants of the Big Bang. So that's one thing that it gives us, but another is technology. So in order to solve a lot of the problems like quantum mechanics and things like that we needed to overcome, we had to build technology that's going to push forward in areas of technology that aren't related to gravitational waves. But,
Right.
and that's a give and take, because we also use the technology that's developed in other areas to refine our instruments.
Right, okay.
So you compensate for my jiggling atoms.
Yes, well, that's really the goal here. Compensate for Jeff's jiggling atoms.
I have a few.
So one of the, we have a couple of questions from viewers. And also, I just really quickly want to thank John Strickland from Forward Thinking.
Yeah.
He sent us a really nice primer on gravitational waves. He's working on a 2-part episode about gravitational waves. I highly recommend you check that out when it's released. And thank you again, John, for helping us learn a little bit more before we got to talk to Josh. Okay, so Stefan asked, what unit of measurement or medium do we measure gravitational waves with?
So gravitational waves have an amplitude. Like the amplitude of the wave is something that's called strain. And strain is the amount of stretch that you get for a given length. So the reason that the arms of LIGO are so long is because that means the longer you make the arm, the longer the motion happens because of the strain. It's a fractional change. So if you make the arms really long, you get a bigger change.
Okay.
So the amplitude of gravitational waves is in strain, and then I guess you can say we measure it in the dimensions of meters in our instrument.
Okay.
10 to the negative 11 or
10 to
whatever.
the minus 19.
Oh, 19.
You could also say that we measure it as light, because the instrument is set up so that it's kind of a trap for gravitational waves. They come in, and if they move the arms back and forth, it causes a little bit of light to come out of what we call the dark port that's normally dark. And that little bit of light encodes the gravitational wave signal as photons, and that's what we measure.
We need an Admiral Akbar of gravitational waves to yell, "It's a trap" at gravitational waves as they come in.
I like it.
Here, Arnold also asked us, one of our viewers, is it possible to harness the waves for energy, FTL propulsion, or time travel-esque application? So let's talk a little bit, with that being asked, let's talk a little bit about the fact that as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is sort of like getting a new sense. So let's say like we have these 5 senses and all of a sudden we get a new sense and we say, okay, I don't really necessarily know exactly what this is going to be used for, but I know that I'll never be the same again. Is that sort of kind of the...
You put that so beautifully, I don't know how to improve on it.
Okay, well, okay, good. Okay, I'm glad.
So time travel, can we do it? That's the question.
So
Time travel.
So that being said, like there was no specific application that you were looking for just specifically to confirm gravitational waves, and from here go forward to find potential uses for the knowledge of gravitational waves.
Time
Yeah.
travel.
So I think
Jeff just really wants a time machine.
I mean, can you blame me?
No, I can't.
I think the initial application is just that we can see the universe in this new way and we can do astronomy. There is the technological benefits for building something like this, but I think having opened up a new sense for humanity is a nice application on its own. So I don't know about time travel, Jeff.
No,
not sure
not
if
so
we're
much.
gonna not sure if we're gonna get you there from this.
Okay.
But I do think, as Kip Thorne said, this allows us to understand Einstein's theory a little bit better, and Einstein's theory is probably a good place to start in your garage as you build your time machine.
Well, the reason that I know that this isn't going to be the thing that gets us there is because future me didn't just show up to give me a high five.
Or did he? Maybe you are future you, and you're just putting up a front.
I gotta
don't
say,
know.
If so, I've aged well.
You have aged quite well. Well, okay. So I think. Let me see if I have any other. We had a lot of questions come in.
Well, it's a very dense topic. I understand.
It is.
I was all excited as a fan of science. You know, you read all the articles that come out. You see the big headline. We did it. We discovered them, and you go, okay, well, but what does that mean, and how does that, how is that accomplished?
So John asked specifically, how is this different from the data we first thought the BICEP 2 telescope uncovered back in 2014? And could gravitational astronomy tell us more about the origins of the universe? Which you did mention. You said potentially, maybe. Yeah, I said he's a smart guy.
That's a great question. So the original BICEP 2 results, we're looking at twisting that was imparted in space-time from the birth of the universe in the Big Bang. And so the idea was that there were gravitational waves at the Big Bang, and they imparted some twisting on space-time, and as that space-time grew, it stretched out, and we could look for that with our telescopes at the South Pole. I'm not involved in that project, but that's my understanding.
Okay.
Our project measured directly gravitational waves coming from a source of 2 black holes, and we expect that we're going to measure other things like exploding stars or neutron stars. So I think the difference is that we're kind of, for one thing, we're in a different frequency range. So we're in a frequency range where things are moving around quite fast. And what we hope that we've done is opened up a field of gravitational wave astronomy where other projects will join, including ones like something called pulsar timing, where they look at spinning pulsars, which are a type of stars, and they look at those and they use those as the timing to measure the gravitational waves that pass between them, and that's a much lower frequency. And so all of those frequencies together, BICEP 2 and related projects, and pulsar timing, and interferometers in space, for example, called LISA, and LIGO, will span the whole spectrum, like we do with light. So we can see a lot of
really
different.
see a lot of different things.
How do you know where to look? How did you guys know where to find the two black holes?
So our instruments act a little bit more like a microphone than they do a telescope. Okay. They're arranged on the Earth, and the waves kind of bathe them. The Earth doesn't block waves, so they come through both instruments. And from the timing and a little bit more information, we can tell roughly where they came from.
Whereabouts.
So this came from the southern sky, but we didn't have to point at it. We could tell by reconstructing the waves as they hit them.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little bit like a microphone.
That's what's so different about gravitational waves, right? Is that they don't impact things; they just move through things, right?
Well, there's a duality. There's this wave-particle duality as well. So we measure them clearly as a wave. But there is an associated particle, we think, called the graviton. So
But we don't know.
So similar to light.
Also
not
the
sure,
name
right?
of my super awesome band that I'm starting
Graviton rocks,
today.
by the way.
Graviton, that's the name of my new band. Let's lastly talk a little bit about Cal State Fullerton's role in this.
Yeah.
You guys did some very interesting things to be able to help everybody visualize exactly what this discovery is.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of Cal State Fullerton's role. We have undergraduate students who are learning relativity at the same time that they're doing some of this work, and we have graduate students and 3 professors. And we, so our students created visualizations, simulations of the 2 black holes. We were among the first, actually the first to look at the exact parameters of the black holes that we detected. On supercomputers at Cal State Fullerton ran simulations to see the black holes merge, and then created visualizations along with collaborators in the Simulating Extreme Spacetimes collaboration.
Oh,
which is
that
another
sounds
cool
That
name.
sounds
Cool thing to
awesome.
be a part
Yeah,
of.
yeah, just anything that I could be a part of that sounds as cool as that, I would be into.
And we had the privilege also to be very closely involved with writing the paper that announced the discovery.
You were one of the lead editors on one of the 6 editors on the paper, right?
Right.
Okay.
And so that was a great privilege because 1,000 people were authors on the paper, and there was a lot of input, and a lot of the words and the thoughts and the measurements came from people across the collaboration, and we tried to work to make a legible, compelling, cohesive story out of
It's a
it.
hell of an email chain.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely right there.
This is awesome. Thank you so much. I think it's shed some light, in any form the light wants to take.
Yeah,
on this.
It shed light and waves.
Yeah, exactly.
On this very dense topic. It's so big and so
Important.
that
Yeah.
it's hard for us sometimes, I think, as people just kind of, reading the news, to wrap our brains around. It's sort of that thing where you really start thinking about the universe and then your head hurts after a while. I really love that you came down here and talked to us a little bit about it. Thank you so much. If anybody wanted to learn more about the project, what would they search for on Google?
Well, gravitational waves will get you a lot of the way. You can go to LIGO.org, where a lot of our scientific
LIGO.
LIGO.org.
And LIGO was its name.
And a lot of our scientific results are posted there, and we work hard to make science summaries of all of our scientific papers so that people can access them at the public can access them. And if people still have questions after that, we work really hard to answer any emails that we get about them.
Very
and we have kind of a whole troop of people that are answering emails right now.
Oh, man, that was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, Joshua
Josh.
Smith, thank you so much for being here. We got more Tomorrow Daily coming at you.
We
so
do.
Stick around.
We have a delightful video as we go to break of boiling an iPhone in crayon wax. So check this out, and we'll be right back.
Equally important to what we've just been talking about.
And I love the smell of fresh, brand new crayons. Let's go ahead and do this. Is the brightness all the way up yet? Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Oh. Oh.
Welcome back to the show. That was amazing, informative.
So rad.
All the best things. I can't even have enough adjectives to describe how great that was. Are you ready to talk about some crowdfunding?
Let's do it. Back it or hack it.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah,
Have you
here's
ever
an answer for you.
sat on your couch while playing, say, I don't know, Rise of the Tomb Raider? You thought to yourself, I wish my couch was moving along with the game?
Heck yeah.
Okay, so immerse it.
And by that I mean not really.
No, well, maybe. Okay, so let's talk about immerse it. So I saw this. It's got 26 days to go on Kickstarter. They wanted $95,000. They've passed that.
They got immerse it.
Immerse it. It's
Immerse
like
it.
immersion, but
Immerse
immerse it,
it.
like you're sitting on a couch. So this is the idea. It is a
Whoa, look at him go.
It is a plug and play device that you put underneath your couch. It will move and vibrate. It can have very sudden moves. It can have subtle moves. It can pitch, roll, heave. There's apparently intelligent vibrations, adjustable intensity. And they're saying this is the ultimate movie and gaming experience. And it's actually gotten some really good...
It's D-Box. It's at-home D-Box.
It is. It's just like going to a 4D theater. This is amazing. So I kind of love this. And
Do you?
Well, I love the idea behind it. I don't...
So few people are going to be happy they gave money to this.
Really?
That's
You
my
think
prediction.
so?
I'm usually not the cynical one, but my goodness, does this look like it's going to be a disappointment to everyone?
Just people are going to get it and be like, this is super lame.
It's going to be, it's going to vibrate a little bit probably. It's going to be like, well, you know what? Sit on your phone and I'll call you when the exciting parts happen.
Supposedly they're saying, like, this is what they're saying on the actual website. They're like, software translates movie motions into perfect movements and vibrations to get you immersed in the most appropriate manner.
Yeah. No.
It's for your body what VR is for your brain. That's also a quote from their Kickstarter.
I'd love that to be true. I'm so skeptical about
Just so
this.
super skeptical.
I'd love to try it. If you're listening and you want us to try it, I'll give it a shot. I'm very skeptical.
We did try it at CES. Not us specifically, but CNET tried it out.
Oh, really? Did they like it?
If you go over to our, if you look up Immersit, IMMERSIT on CNET.com, you can check out our video. We did a little first look on it.
Now I have to find out if we as a company liked it, because I'm very skeptical about it.
There are many. Yeah, Sarah tested this. There she is.
How much is it?
Okay, let's talk about price. If you want just vibration, if you don't want
you
your
already
couch
have it on your phone
to shake around,
Yeah.
and you don't want to put your iPad or your Surface underneath your couch cushion and sit on it, you can get Immersit vibration for about $200.
Wow.
Just the vibration.
Wow.
Okay.
Does it require support from the thing you're watching? Does it have to? How does it know when to vibrate you based on what you're watching?
I think it's saying that, like, basically it's compatible with the game consoles. They said it was compatible with like all of them right now, like all of the Xbox 360, Xbox One, like it's compatible. If you want an actual motion, an Immersit motion, which is the whole kit and caboodle package,
Knocking you around on your couch.
The cheapest early bird available currently is $720.
No! $700 and no!
$700 and no dollars?
$700 and $0. I'm sorry. I'm hacking it. I'm not backing it.
Yes, okay. For $700, I don't think I can.
No way!
I think for $300, I'd be
It better
all
come
in.
with the dang couch.
Well, that's the thing. I have a sectional couch. I can't even use this because my couch is too big. It's like a giant 10-seat sectional. So there's no way I could ever actually use this. I'd have to buy a separate couch specifically made for this particular application.
This is a bad idea, Jeans.
You think so? Immersit?
I'm sorry. Thumbs down from the old Jeff Meister.
Oh, thumbs down. Bummer. All right. I say don't. I'd say don't. Go to a 4D movie theater.
Yeah. Or,
Get your
just
kicks in.
watch the movie. It's fine.
Do it for scare tactics. I don't know. You could scare somebody with it. That would be. I don't know if that's worth $700
It's a
to
21st
you,
century
but
whoopee cushion.
that's
is what
kind
it
of
is.
true. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now that we've talked about Back or Hack It, are you ready to talk about what we're into?
Let's do it.
All right, let's into it. I'm into Helldivers. I just want to get right in.
It was free this month on PSN, right?
PlayStation Plus had it for free. Crossplay, I believe it's PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and Vita. I didn't
I've
get
heard
to
very
play
good
this
things
on
about
PC. It is so much fun. It is a combination of Starship Troopers,
Uh-huh.
Diablo.
Ooh.
It's a kind of that combo. So it's a
I like it.
top-down game, and you can all play together, and there's friendly fire, so you can accidentally kill your friends.
Twin stick shooter, right?
Happens a lot, yeah. Twin stick shooter. You choose your loadout right before you go into each mission. You can play. You can fight against cyborgs, bugs, or illuminate. And it is so fun. You go into these missions, and it'll say, okay, here's your objective. You got to go. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. The ship that comes to get you, the drop ship that comes to take you out of the mission, if you are under it when it lands, it will kill you.
That'll make your couch shake.
Yeah, that'll make it. Oh, boy. If you played this game with the Immersit, you would be having a great time. It's so much fun, and it's a blast to meet other people because you can play multiplayer either locally or online. So me and my husband have been playing with other, like my friend Mike, and then my brother from a different PlayStation. It's so fun.
I gotta get in on
highly
this.
recommend
I just downloaded it, so I gotta get on. I've been
Get
playing some
in
Street Fighter.
on Helldivers. It's great. Okay, what are you into?
My into it is a movie, and it might at first glance seem like a real political movie, but I urge anybody watching this, regardless of what your political stance is, to give it a shot.
Give it a try.
It's
okay.
the new film from Michael Moore.
Okay.
So he's a polarizing figure, but this one is called Where to Invade Next. I think it's actually not a very good title. It's a clever idea. He's quote unquote invading countries by himself, but I think it conjures sort of a dialogue about the military-industrial complex, which is not what the movie is about at all. he's just going to different countries, some European countries, some North African countries, and just seeing how they approach some of the problems that we have here in America. And it's fascinating. Some of the solutions that other countries have come up with, some of the ideas they've taken from us and expanded upon, the things that he just sort of shows in practice all around the world are really inspiring and really interesting. It's not a polemic. It's not preachy. It doesn't feel like a
Michael Moore movie.
A Michael Moore movie.
It doesn't
I mean,
feel
I think
like-
a lot of
okay.
people are turned off by that. I really urge anybody watching this, if you have this movie playing near you, go see it. It will open your mind. It reminded me of when I was 17. It was the first time I ever went overseas. I ever traveled that far away from home.
And it just opens your mind.
It opens your mind. You realize that the whole world isn't like your little part of it.
Your little space, right?
And this movie is the filmic equivalent of that. And I really, if you have ever heard anything I've said on the show and taken my advice and been happy, do this. I guarantee you'll laugh, you'll enjoy it, even if you think you hate Michael Moore.
Is it on Netflix? Or
It is
it
not
on
yet,
demand?
but it's
Okay.
in theaters right now.
Oh, okay.
So
In
you can
theaters,
go see
alright.
it in theaters. I'm sure it'll be on Netflix at some point. Where to Invade Next by Michael Moore. It's an amazing movie, and it's so funny and fun, and it will get you talking. My wife and I have been talking about it ever since because it just has such interesting ideas in it.
I will watch it on your recommendation.
Please do.
I trust you.
Yeah.
I trust you. Okay. We've done everything except our favorite part of the show, which is
Photographer.
All about you. Yasmin, you took this photo with your iPhone 6 Plus, and honestly, it's a little rainy today, and I'm kind of missing the
I want
weather.
to go to there.
I would like to go to there.
This is a lovely photo.
It's real.
Look
It's
at how
so
joyous
good.
they
the,
are.
The full, like Logan will move it to the full screen. Producer Logan will give us the full screen. It is so crisp and clear. I love it. Yasmin Rose said, I took this picture back in August when I was in California. A photo was taken with my iPhone 6 Plus. In the photo, it's Monica on the right and Destiny to the left. You have my full permission to use it.
This is a photo. If you take it with your iPhone, it's a little dangerous because that wave hits a little hard. Your phone
like,
goes
"Ugh."
tumbling into the ocean. All of a
Yeah,
sudden,
yeah.
no phone.
No, it's
but maybe
brave.
Maybe she had a.
Yasmin is a bold photographer.
Maybe
bold
she had a case or
photography.
something.
Oh,
I don't know.
maybe. Okay, yeah.
But
maybe
really
waterproof
lovely
case.
photo. If you
Super
want to
great.
be our photographer of the day and have your photo featured on our show, it's easy. All you gotta do is send it in to tomorrow@cnet.com. Make sure you tell us what device you took it on. Give us a little story about why you took it, and give us permission to use it on the show.
Yes, permission is always great. If you like the show, you want to see us continue to do this, please share it with somebody that you like or don't
Yeah.
like. I don't know. You want to share it with a friend of me, I don't care.
You are our entire marketing budget.
You are, yes.
Please.
Be evangelical. Get crazy about it. Pass out flyers
Yeah.
in your hometown.
Oh, we would support that.
Send them to tomorrowdaily.com. It's the easiest way to find the show. It's the easiest way to get to it. We highly recommend that you do that.
Yes.
And that is it for the show today. We'll be back next week with a brand new docket of science fact meeting science fiction and all the cool stuff in between that we like to talk about. But until then,
Be good humans.
bye guys.